my third monitor set up.
My phone is telling me to watch Bret and Kevin live now on the internet.
Yes, we're live, and hopefully all the viewers come spouting in here. All right, so we going live with Bret Fisher. Let's do some retweets from every social media account that you possibly own. Retweet.
I should have more than one. Oh,
yeah. Oops. All right, so we'll see who's there. So hello, internet.
Hello.
This was totally random. We didn't pre-schedule this at all, so we're just doing this live. And you know how live things are. We played by ear, and like I didn't turn my phone off. So
and we just had like torrential rains and 4 or 5 blocks away, I think a tornado landed. So no big deals.
Yeah, I mean,
during the crazy storm.
Southeast Virginia is getting some of the worst weather it's had in a couple years.
So let's do a podcast.
Yeah, let's do a podcast.
Let's go on the internet. That's fine.
And all this bad weather will be gone before RevolutionConf. So
yes, it's only allowed to be sunny at Rev. So RevConf is always going to be sunny.
We ordered sunny, nice, warm weather. It's on
the package.
Yeah. So hello, internet. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Kevin Griffin. I am one of the organizers of RevolutionConf, which will be June 1st and 2nd this year. We're a little under a month away, so there's still time to get your tickets and set up all your accommodations so you can come out and meet us. But as a part of our promotion for RevolutionConf, we learned that we can put out schedules. We can tell you about all of our great speakers and all the great sessions. But once you get to RevolutionConf, you have to make a couple of decisions. And we've made it really hard this year because we have 50 amazing speakers on a variety of different topics, ranging from IoT to soft skills to things like Docker, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a moment. So you look at these schedules and you go, I don't know what to go to. I only have a little bit of context. I have the title and sometimes an abstract and then a bio for whoever's giving the presentation. So what we wanted to do as a RevolutionConf team is give everyone out there a little bit of context about the speaker who's doing all these various talks. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can look at some of our previous talks we've done. And today I am joined with Mr. Bret Fisher. How are you today, Bret?
I'm great. I survived the weather, and now it's starting to get a little bit sunny, and it's been great weather lately. So we've had some beach time. It's always nice in Virginia Beach when you get a little bit of spring beach time before the tourists get here. So I'm doing great. Just got back from Docker Federal Summit in DC 2 days ago. That was a lot of fun. We had a one-day event for a lot of the like the State Department and the military departments, and it was a packed house. We had standing room only, and everybody wants to learn about Docker. So it's been a week of Docker.
Awesome. So Bret, you and I have known each other for a very long time. We've been colleagues, we've been business partners. Well, we still are business partners. Just general good friends for very many years.
Yeah.
But those out there on the internet or who are coming to RevolutionConf, they don't know who Bret Fisher is. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a local, Virginia Beach. Tell us what you do for a living and just the general background information.
Yeah. Yes, Kevin and I actually started out working together at the city of Virginia Beach like almost 15 years ago. And we both realized we're both sort of like-minded, and we constantly were learning from each other and always teaching each other stuff in the hallways. So that was fun. But yeah, we've done so much since then, right? That was so long ago. I've been in IT over 20 years, mostly as a sysadmin. Nowadays, you might call that DevOps because I'm a pretend developer on the side. So I spend a lot of my time with developers and operators trying to make things go faster. I've done everything from I started out in the Navy. I was basically a part of the PC revolution in the military where we took mainframes out and put PCs in. And then I've worked for small consulting companies. I worked for local government, federal government. I've been private companies, big consulting companies, little consulting companies. But for the last 8 years, I've been a freelance consultant doing mostly DevOps stuff. But even before it was kind of called DevOps, I was always trying to basically make things go faster and help developers get their code into production faster. And then about, I don't know, well, when we were working on Windsitter, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that, we started to hear about Docker and how containers were changing the landscape on the cloud and making everything go faster. So we started playing around with that in Windsitter and doing some CI testing with it, and then eventually trying to figure out how to use it in production. And eventually it sort of stuck with me, and I got it. And I saw that it was going to be sort of this revolutionary technology or ecosystem that was similar to the previous changes, like the PC revolution, the internet revolution, the cloud revolution, and now it's like microservices, serverless, and Docker are all sort of like the next wave. And so I just kind of dedicated all of my consulting and time to doing Docker things for people and helping people. And now I spend a lot of my time, if I'm not consulting, I'm probably running workshops or running the local meetups or going and speaking at conferences elsewhere, running workshops there. So yeah, pretty much Docker.
You're all over the place, and I love telling people stories about our old days of working at the city and working on Windsitter. I was having coffee or lunch with a mutual friend of ours, who I'll tell you later, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about mentors. It's like when you're kind of coming up in your career, you always need that mentor, someone that you can just bounce ideas off, who's a lot smarter than you and will help guide you in the right direction without making you feel like a complete idiot. And I always used you as the example of when we worked at the city. And every time I had a weird like problem, and just for context, everyone out there, I was like level 1 tech, just fixing computers and doing random stuff.
Running around all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had this thing called ambition. So I was taking on projects that were much larger than I probably should have been taking on for my position. But every time I would run into a roadblock, it's like, all right, I just need to talk to someone smarter than me. And everyone else on my team did not fit that bill. I always had to walk across the street, and I would just walk into Bret's office and say, Bret, I'm having a problem. This is what I've done, blah, blah, blah. And Bret would say, have you looked at blah? No. Thanks, Bret. Walk out the door.
Well, that's true, right? Because you had a lot of silos back then. Like, these are slowly all breaking down, where like you had the tier 1, the tier 2, the tier 3, you had the devs over there and the operators over there and the sysadmins over here. And like they were all in separate buildings, and there was sort of these, it was a management chain from the top down that kind of prevented the collaboration. And that just seemed always crazy to me, right? So we were always trying to figure out, well, let's take some of the sysadmins and go meet for half a day, helping out tier 1, or maybe have some of the ops people go hang out with the devs for half an hour or something and learn about, maybe what their life is like. And in fact, that's actually how I met my wife. It was a day at the office where the sysadmins were helping the tech support office, where they had too many calls going on. So we were taking calls and running out to users that we normally didn't get to engage with. And I happened to, I think, help a copy and paste problem with a lovely lady in marketing that I ended up marrying. So,
oh my gosh!
So you too can find relationships by helping out tier 1.
I remember a couple times doing tier 1 support where I would get an email from one of the lady customers afterwards, and it's like, "Hi, this is crossing the line." So, no, this can't happen. But yeah, it's a little weird. It's like, oh, you're smart with computers. That's attractive.
maybe that's a new podcast, dating advice for tech support.
Yeah. I don't think that. I think it would have high followership, but nothing actionable.
Right. No value gained. You would watch one episode and then walk away. Yeah.
And awesome. And another Windsitter story. One of the problems that we ran into with Windsitter, and it's funny as you're talking about Docker, right at the tail of before Windsitter kind of faded away, was we had all these squirrel moments. As I guess we would call it. It's like, oh, there's new shiny. We need to redo everything we're doing and go after new shiny. And it's like both you and I, we both suffered from that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, let's redo all this and use the new shiny.
A startup with 2 engineers that love new stuff is always like a challenge in and of itself, right?
Yeah. And but we've grown and matured since then. So
Yeah,
hopefully we wouldn't make those same mistakes now. We would just pick something and stick with it.
we'd wait another week before we tried the new shiny. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait for the new shiny to become, slightly dull, and then it's worth trying.
Yeah.
So let's so you told us about your background. That's all awesome. Let's talk about RevolutionConf. And you're doing something special at RevolutionConf. You're doing a workshop. So not a traditional 30-minute talk. You're doing a full blown out 3.5, almost 4 hour workshop on Docker. So tell us more about your workshop.
Yeah, so it's actually one that I do quite often. It's one of the most popular workshops. In fact, I did it at DockerCon, a similar sort of advanced version of this at DockerCon, and it was actually the fastest workshop to sell out at DockerCon. So I'm kind of cheering that topic of, how do we take that knowledge and actually apply it to real world scenarios and get that in front of our customers and get that in use at our company. So the workshop is going to start off with some reviewing around the beginnings of Docker and how you use Docker day to day on your laptop, so that those that are maybe new to Docker can get some basics wrapped around it. And then from there, you're going to hop into the basics of orchestration using Docker Compose, which basically allows you to take multiple, like maybe your web server and your database server and maybe your proxy server, and wrap them all up in a single command so that you can launch it all at the same time. But then we're going to hop from that into how you might do that in production using Docker Swarm. And the cool thing is that all of these features and functionalities are really just a part of the same Docker toolkit. We're really going to focus on the Docker ecosystem, not so much the extra third-party stuff that you can use out of Docker, because that could be days worth of workshop, right? So we're going to focus on the Docker command line, and then we're going to work on the Compose command line, and then we're going to jump into Docker Swarm, which is actually a part of that same Docker command line, and learn how easy it can be nowadays to take multiple servers, or as we call them, nodes, and whether it's in your data center or in the cloud or even like just virtual machines on your laptop, how you can take multiple ones of those and put them together in a cluster and quickly deploy your app in sort of a highly available, load balanced way. So it'll be a lot of fun. You'll end up with more content to take home than you actually have time to do in the workshop, and sort of we'll be going through the workshop together, and people are going to have servers that they'll be able to use in the workshop that I'm going to hand to them, like a 5-server set on a little piece of paper that they'll be able to use throughout the whole day. So if they wanted to get extra credit and stay late and actually keep working after the workshop, they can do that. And then it's an open source slide deck that they'll be able to take home that we've have now over 300 slides actually put together by the community. And there's a couple of us that teach it. There's actually one of the original sysadmin at Docker, who is Jerome. He actually created this slide deck, and a lot of us have been adding to it and enhancing it, and we go around teaching it, and everybody gives us great feedback on it. So I'm excited to teach it just a mile down the road from my house at RevConf, and to do it on the beach and have fun here in Virginia Beach. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get a little Docker, you get a little sun. So
it's one thing I keep preaching. Sorry, getting feedback from your speaker. One of the things I keep preaching about your workshop, and really all of our workshops, but your workshop in particular, because I know how in demand it is I don't think folks realize that we're basically providing a workshop during RevolutionConf that in the private sector we would charge like $500 for minimum, and you have all these larger conferences that are charging people specifically for this workshop, for this content, and they're selling out in minutes. You're just getting it as a part of RevolutionConf. So take a full advantage of the workshops if they're important to you, because you're getting them at a very discounted price. And also on top of all that, all the other stuff we have at RevolutionConf. So Bret's workshop, you'll get in and get all the information you need about Docker. You'll get Bret's contact information, so you know how to talk to him afterwards. You'll get homework afterwards, so that's great. Just more stuff to do. But then you go off and learn something else, or you go out to the beach. And Bret, being a local, I know he's going to be at the after parties, hanging around. Plenty of opportunity to just like ping him with questions. And he's a Docker captain, which means he knows everything about Docker, and he's that tight community of the world experts on Docker. That's where Bret is. So take advantage of this opportunity to leverage Bret's expertise, and really everyone at RevolutionConf has an expertise. So it's a great value when you think of it that way. Bret, you are the local. Like, you are the most local person going to RevolutionConf as a speaker, as an attendee. Hyper local, because you are literally a bike ride away from the venue.
Right.
Now, everyone else who's done an interview with us, we've asked them about what they're looking forward to. Are they going to try to do any touristy stuff? I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. What touristy stuff, or I guess really, what would the locals do down at the oceanfront that maybe the mainstream tourists wouldn't know anything about?
Right.
Food, activities, just general stuff to do.
Yeah. So when you're not at RevConf, and if you plan to stay an extra day or two or come a couple days early, which I highly recommend, because it's going to be a great time of year, you can obviously, there's all the obvious tourist stuff. We have actually the largest continuous oceanfront in the world that's public. And we have a 3-mile sort of bike and walking area that's the boardwalk. It's not actually made of boards anymore. It's concrete, but super great just to walk down and see all. That's the touristy stuff, right? Which can still be lots of fun, right? You can rent bikes. You can rent like a 4-person bike cart. You can, and then if you look up ahead of time, you can do things like get surf lessons and possibly ride a couple days, times a day. They actually have whale watching, although that won't be the kind of season for that. There'll be dolphin watching in June. So you can go out, and almost every day there's dolphins out there. So it's a pretty good chance you'll see them. And then you have like big local venues that are good touristy spots that are still fun. Is the indoor skydiving, which is right on 25th Street. And then you have Topgolf, which is not near the ocean front, but if you want to take a break and go about 10 minutes away, there's Topgolf, which if you've never played that, it's fantastic fun, especially at night, because it's basically driving range plus video game plus, I don't know, bar.
Alcohol,
plus alcohol and food, all wrapped into one. It's the kind of thing that's almost like its own little amusement park. But like the local stuff is also really fun. So the nice thing is down here at the oceanfront, we have this thing called Vibe. It's sort of like our cultural district where we have lots of local artists creating leather goods and paintings and all that stuff. But then we also have sort of the boutique food and eats like Java Surf, which is a great breakfast place. Doc Taylor's is a really great breakfast place. People wait hours at Doc Taylor's to get in, and there's so much of a wait that they actually have an entire building next door with cornhole and really cheap mimosas and Bloody Marys, and everybody just hangs out there. And so it's like a 2-course meal. You go in and you hang out in one place, and then when your number is called, you go into Doc Taylor's. If you're more of a foodie, you definitely want to check out places like Repeal Bourbon and Burgers, which has really great burgers, but also great bourbon. Oops, hit my little
Molly down.
My Molly is down. Molly Doc. By the way, this is Molly Doc. She is, I don't know, sister or friend of Moby Doc from Docker. Waterman's is a great place to go. They have always have like shrimp specials and other seafood specials, but they have a great little bar downstairs right on the beach. So that's Waterman's. They also have the best orange crushes at the beach, which is one of our signature drinks here is an orange crush. And then there's another iconic spot is Rudy's, which is on the inlet, but it has, basically you're sitting in a picnic bench that's a swing. And they have something there called the Longshoreman. So if you're really into seafood, it's this gigantic plate. It's almost too much for one person. but it's basically every type of seafood all in one gigantic pile. It's called the Longshoreman. I highly recommend it. Other eats that maybe aren't seafood are Baja Cantina, which is really like less than a block off the oceanfront. Baja Cantina has really good tacos. They actually have a taco where the wrap is cheese. So they brown the cheese and wrap it over the food. And then they have like these spicy shrimp fried little things wrapped in bacon. You can go down to CP Shuckers. CP Shuckers is a local favorite. They have a great outdoor area and they usually have live music. You got Harpoon Larry's. And then you have this little area that's got esoteric. So it's off the boardwalk, maybe 4 blocks, but they have like 35 microbrews on tap. And anyway, so many places to go. We have a lot of great eats and a lot of really local beers. There's dozens now of Virginia-based microbreweries that all are accessible down here at the oceanfront. But I could talk about food and drink forever down here. So
one
I have to stop.
Thing, yeah, you named a lot of places I've never heard of. So, and I've lived here my entire life. One thing for people to keep in mind is if you're staying at the hotel, the conference hotel is not off the main oceanfront, main boardwalk. It's about a 5-minute drive, but the hotel offers a free hourly shuttle to go down there. So if you're staying at the conference hotel, you want to go take advantage of all this stuff, they have the shuttle. And so you don't have to worry about Uber. You don't have to worry about driving. If you drive down at the oceanfront, you have to pay to park, all that, city stuff. But take the free shuttle, park for free at the hotel. And if you're a RevolutionConf attendee, we also have our Slack, and there's a locals area in there. So if you wanted to come down early, and I know the group of us, if you wanted to meet up and go out for dinner or drinks before or even after RevolutionConf, there's plenty of places to take advantage of.
Yeah. And if you can't do the shuttle, I was going to say, if you can't do the shuttle, like let's say you missed the shuttle and you don't want to wait, we have Uber and Lyft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Ubers around here, so because the oceanfront is pretty much like it's a 3 or 5 mile area, so everything you want to do is right there. It's almost always like the minimum Uber, like a $5 Uber to get from point A to point B. So from your hotel to just about any place down here is usually going to be that minimum price. So, and they're everywhere. So I usually wait like 2 minutes for an Uber, I guess, whenever I'm going somewhere down here. So,
and now I need to schedule time with you, and we have to go to Doc Taylor's for breakfast.
We do
because it's been a while.
So actually, if you go on a weekday, it's not bad. If you go to regular, it's when you like wait till Saturday morning at 10 a.m. It's like all typical city, brunch places, they get really busy. But if you go early, there's really no wait. So
no, we need to do like Wednesday at 7 a.m. like we did back in the Windsitter days.
Yeah,
go down, get some chicken and biscuits, and yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So yeah, everyone, if you need local information, you need to talk to Bret. He is the local in the Slack and on the internet.
And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a locals guide on a blog post, and we'll put that in the Slack, and then like put it on Twitter and stuff, so that when people ask questions, like just general stuff, maybe we'll have like a whole list of information there that we can point them to. So
that sounds great. All right, Bret, you are a resident conference goer, speaker. You've gone to small conferences. You've gone to big conferences, spoken in front of thousands of people. What recommendations would you give to someone who RevolutionConf might be their first conference? So they're showing up, never done this thing before.
Oh, and they're speaking?
Or attending.
Oh, attending?
Yeah.
So... yeah, right. I mean, over 10 years of conferences, you have great little, not little, but you have these great community conferences like I'm seeing your Mad Expo shirt, and I'm remembering the old days of Mad Expo. Yeah. And RevolutionConf, where it's very community driven, and it's everyone's friendly and wants to talk, and you can find all the speakers in the hallways, and they don't like hide away, and they don't run through the back door and then you never see them again. And then you have and then there's this stark contrast to things like Microsoft's World Partner Conference. That's 20,000 people in one location where you can't find anyone, and it's impossible to meet up with people because there's just it's so huge, and you lose like 5 pounds just walking around the conference all week. So I think the first year, like your first beginner, I mean, there's obvious things, right? You definitely want to set out your schedule ahead of time and always do backups. Like whenever I do my schedule, I always like pick at least 2 for each time frame. Because if you get there late, because maybe you stop someone in the hallway and you start talking, it might fill up. So being early into the popular sessions is really important. And then, so if it's full up, then you sort of have like that backup plan of the one you can go to that maybe isn't full up. Sometimes you'll find that at the last minute, you'll talk to a couple of people and you'll realize that there's other talks of people that you didn't even know, or maybe you'll meet the speaker and you're suddenly interested in their stuff. And so I would say that when I get there, even though I've got the plan only probably gets executed 50% of the time, right? Like you'll always end up meeting people and you're like, wow, he's going to do what with flames and with what hardware in his talk? Like I have to go to that one. This one's about making beer. I have to go to that one. So you'll end up learning things while you're there, obviously, but definitely get aware of it ahead of time. Otherwise, you might miss out on some really cool sort of stuff that happens live. Because even if you can watch a video afterwards, like live is always much more engaging, especially at small conferences where it's not so formal and sort of one way. So when you have the big conferences with 1,000 people, obviously you can't have a conversation or hang out afterwards forever. So. The other thing is, RevConf is like a lot of community conferences, but particularly about RevConf is really about community. So it's really about the people as much as it is about the content. So, don't be afraid to ask someone, or even a presenter that maybe you saw in another talk earlier that day. Don't be afraid to, just to say, hey, can I ask you a few questions or meet people? That's the reason we do this live, right? Because in the age of the internet, we could just do this thing virtually and then we could all go home, right? We would just learn content. But the reason we bring all these people together is because, a lot of us, this is our career. Some of us, this is just a hobby. But when you get people together, you find we're like extremely diverse. We come from all walks and all backgrounds, and that we're all coming together on the same idea of learning new tech and, changing our mindset around old things that we maybe have learned that maybe there's a better way now. And just having fun, learning new, cool, fun stuff. I think last year was really great because we had so many interesting, sort of quirky, fun talks that you wouldn't necessarily find at a big conference, because we can do sort of the cool things at the small conference that don't have to scale to thousands of people. And that's really fun about the local conferences like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to your comment about having a plan, I don't know how many conferences I've gone to where I've looked at the schedule. I've taken the time to set up a plan, say, all right, I'm going to get the most out of this conference. I'm going to this one, and I'm going to shoot over to this one here, go see this person. And then what happens is I sit in the hallway the entire time, and I go from one conversation to another, to another, to another. And then the day's over. I realize I didn't go to a single session. Crap. Yeah. Oh, well. It's all about the people, like you said. That's why I do this stuff.
Yep.
All right, Bret. Well, let's wrap up. You have some stuff you should be promoting heavily. So we're at self-promotion time. So not including your RevolutionConf workshop on Docker. Tell us about the other things you like to promote, and we'll put all this in the show description when we're done.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on the webs at bretfisher.com. That's 1 T and no C. So it's BRETFISHER.com. And from there, you can find my email, my Twitter, that sort of stuff, get my GitHub. And then just a month ago, if you take the workshop and you want even more in-depth sort of multi 6+ hours of content around Docker orchestration and Docker production, I actually have launched a course on Udemy. You can go to dockermastery.com, which will take you to that course. And there's actually a coupon going on right now. And then we'll have another coupon that people can use for RevConf and get a good deal on that course after the conference, after they've learned sort of the beginnings of Docker and some of the basics of the orchestration. The course can kind of take you from there and help you with some more advanced stuff. So I'm on Twitter a lot. It's twitter.com/Bret Fisher. And I mean, pretty much I'm Bret Fisher everywhere. But yeah, reach out to me. I love talking to people on Twitter. I'm happy to get emails and reply. And I just love hearing about what people are doing with, especially container technology and how they're using it, or maybe what problems they're having. And if you have any questions on like before the conference, or that you want to talk about Docker before the conference, you can go into the RevConf chat and just ping me. I think I'm at Bret Fisher in the Slack. And I'll be happy to jump in and talk with you about Docker or other container stuff or microservices and all the latest stuff there, and help you there. It's basically like a free support channel.
Yeah, and I'll give a review for your Docker Mastery course. I'm not done with it yet. I'm still going through it, but so far it has all the right information in it. It's the right pace. So if you are either a beginner with Docker or you're coming in you've played around a little, there's something for everyone. So I'm getting a lot out of it, and so make sure you take advantage of that, and make sure you take advantage of Bret's workshop.
Thanks, Kevin.
So yeah, I gave it 5 stars on Udemy.
5 stars,
and
yes.
5 stars. And I'm not the only one. There's like hundreds of 5-star reviews on Udemy. So everyone else likes it. Don't take my word for it. All right, Bret. Well, I don't have any other questions. I just want to thank you so much for your time. And we did this just kind of ad hoc, talking about it. But everyone, you can go to RevolutionConf.com and buy tickets. Today is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, right?
Yay.
And we have Wave 2 tickets on sale until May 15th. After May 15th, the ticket price will go up because we'll be in the last 2 weeks. It's the last minute, folks. The supplies will be limited then, so the price has to go up a bit. So get your tickets. RevolutionConf.com. Look at Bret's talk. Look at all of our speakers. Talk to us on Twitter. We can't wait to see you all. So thank you, Bret, again.
Thank you, Kevin. See you at RevConf.